Greg Pickett at consumersbitcoin.com. Today I hope to increase your understanding of the Bitcoin revolution. There will come a time, very soon I think, when Bitcoin will be used to buy goods and services at merchant stores around the world. It'll be a while before that happens. How long? Well, it depends on the adoption rate and how many of you get on board. When it does, it'll replace the dollar as money for buyers and merchants everywhere. Credit cards, checks, and even cash in dollars will no longer be necessary for consumers to pay their bills and to buy the things that are needed for everyday living. In fact, at some point in the near future, dollars will eventually be gone forever in favor of a more streamlined way of trading goods and services. Central banks and credit card companies are scrambling to find a way to control such free trade among common citizens. Bitcoin has the potential to put them out of business. The only way they could see to keep control that they've had with the fiat money system is to take more control of commerce and trade with a central bank digital currency of their own. In order to completely do this, they would have to either take control of Bitcoin or destroy it altogether. Some have tried, but they shoot themselves in the foot every time by isolating themselves from trade with the other 180 countries that are increasingly recognizing Bitcoin as a real commodity that cannot be prevented nor destroyed. Governments have been bought by the central bankers in the past because of the need for funding government expenditures. The most expensive need for governments is to fund wars. Bankers have known this for centuries. By stirring up a war between countries, they can increase the indebtedness of the countries, thereby increasing their power and control over them. The famous banker Mayer Amschel Rothschild stated in the 18th century, quote, "Give me control of a nation's money and I care not who makes its laws," end of quote. This statement perfectly illustrates the system of banker control of nations for 1,000 years. Rothschild was not the first to use that method to control governments around the world. His father, Amschel Moses Rothschild, was a coin trader who provided coinage to the Prince of Hesse. Most importantly, Rothschild was taught under the tutelage of Jacob Wolf Oppenheimer, the grandson of Samuel Oppenheimer, an Ashkenazi Jewish banker, imperial court diplomat, and a military supplier for the Holy Roman Empire. He was what was called a court Jew who lent money, probably created out of nothing, to governments, monarchs, and nobility. It was more than likely well understood by coin exchangers such as the Oppenheimers and the Rothschilds that loans could be made without full reserves to back them. Surely they were clever enough to realize that they had only to keep enough in reserve to satisfy a default or a demand by a depositor for an immediate return of a deposit. This phenomenon allowed for the lending of money in excess of the amounts kept on hand in reserve. The discovery by early lenders of a way to compound their earnings by as much as 10 times, thereby vastly increasing their wealth at a rapid rate. The more they earned in interest on the money that was created out of nothing by fractional reserve lending, the more their reserves were compounded and the more they could lend to countries and governments to finance wars and other costly government programs. The full faith and credit of governments had to be maintained for governments to stay in power. That created a huge incentive for them to repay the loans to the bankers. This lowered the risk of default for the lenders on the loans to governments to a great degree, thus keeping the fractional reserve bankers in business. Lest we place the credit or the blame for fractional reserve banking squarely on the shoulders of bankers of Jewish origin, it is important to note that fractional reserve banking probably did not originate with the Jews. The rights to coin money was originally passed around the circles of the Holy Roman Empire. The first prominent example of the integration of church and state was established in 325 CE after the Roman Emperor Constantine apparently decided that incorporating Christianity with the government was advantageous for public support. Frederick II was crowned Holy Emperor of Rome by Pope Honorius III, thereby deriving his authority from the Catholic Church. Frederick II was crowned King of Sicily in 1198, King of Germany in 1212. He was King of Italy and Holy Roman Empire in 1220, and the King of Jerusalem in 1225. The transfer of the power to mint coins was given by the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II to the bishops in Germany on April 26, 1220, in exchange for their support for the election of his son Henry as king. So the history of banking is at least as old as 1500 years. Bitcoin is the first known effective diversion from fractional reserve banking in the history of the world. With the discovery of the internet and cyberspace, the way was provided for Bitcoin to be created in 2009 as an alternative to fiat fractional reserve banking. After seeing the financial debacle of 2008 and the meltdown of the paper money debt pyramid that had been created by unrestrained trading of loans, Satoshi Nakamoto designed a decentralized method of preserving personal wealth, an unprecedented method that was apart from the fractional reserve fiat system. The fiat system of debt financing had been magnified by the unchecked trading of derivatives and other debt instruments by banking thieves that had sold their souls for high commissions and abused their way into an inevitable meltdown. Then Satoshi wisely vaporized, leaving the control of the blockchain and the mining of Bitcoin standing on its own, apart from human control or manipulation. For the first time in history, trusting humans was replaced by a network of thousands of computer nodes around the world that verified transactions by automatically and mathematically agreeing with one another. Transactions were automatically recorded and stored permanently and unchangeably on a blockchain file in cyberspace. So, I'll make a bold prediction. Banking as we know it is unnecessary, and it'll be replaced by Bitcoin. Consumers around the world will soon find themselves trading freely and privately using Bitcoin instead of dollars for any other fiat currency to pay their bills or to purchase goods and services. The purpose of the website consumersbitcoin.com and my podcasts is to help people to be prepared for the Great Reset and the invasion of privacy that is designed as a CBDC, or central bank digital currency, by the central banks and despotic governments around the world. Knowledge dispels fear. Keep learning. Babylon will fall. Don't you fall with it. I hope this information will help you to be more courageous than before. Believe it or not, there are those of us who think more of your freedom in the future than for our own fortunes, especially at my age. I'm Mike Pickett. Fix your mistakes and sleep peacefully tonight, knowing that your savings are in your own custody. Make up your mind to try it on, then get online and type in Swan. You want to learn, give it a try. Now load the app and click to buy. Now buy a wallet from online and move the coin. It will be fine. Then smile a lot. Your money's free, tucked in your own self-custody.